Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Gator Gang Network. I'm your host, Bobby, and I'm joined with my co-hosts, Lucas and Darryl. How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you, Darryl? How was y'all's three day weekend? With Labor
Um,
Day.
Mine was okay until I found out about personal issues. But I'll get to it.
We're all praying for you, and let them prayers be sent to Lucas and his family. But the Gators had a game this weekend, game one of the 2021 season against the FAU Owls, and coming out with a win 35-14. And boy, did we get some answers, from last year to this year that we wanted answered, and also some things, it kind of evolved into now we got more questions. Do we have a quarterback battle? I mean, is the defense really this good, or was it the opponent? Or is the run game finally going? I mean, so many things that we wanted to know from can we improve on from last year to this year? And we've seen a lot of things, and it might have been against FAU, but it's good to see them things. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, there were some improvements made for sure.
Lucas, what was the one question that you had from last year, going into this year, and based off of the first game of the season, uh, was your question answered, or is it kind of up in the
You
air?
already know where I'm going with this. If you follow me on Twitter or Facebook, I gotta go with the defense.
I agree. The defense, they looked a heck of a lot better than last year. I know we played FAU, but I mean, there were some games last year that we played lower defenses and really didn't have
And
that success.
and they knew where to be lined up. They knew where they were supposed to go, and it wasn't like, hey, what am I doing? That sort of thing.
They looked a lot more well oiled on the defensive end. And the young defensive backs, Jason Marshall, Elijah Blades, they stepped up, and those were two players that I wanted to see, and Avery Helm as well. How are they going to be since Jaden Hill and Kamar Wilcoxon is out for the season?
Out
So
for the
losing
season
both of
with injury.
them was, it's a big loss. Darryl, what did you see from the defense? Because you were there at the game and watching, there. What did you think about the defense?
I do think the defense was a lot better. Like to, the one thing I did like to, the one thing I did notice is we were actually getting pressure with the front four rather than having to blitz.
Hmm. Yeah, we were doing really great things, on the defensive end, and really disrupting their flow of the game and what they wanted to do. And it's really good to see Zachary Carter on that D line. 3 sacks. Javon Dexter, too. Being in there at the right place at the right time, recovering the 2 fumbles. I mean, overall the defensive line looked really stout. The defense interior looked really good. But when we flip it to the offensive side of the ball, I mean, we had 400 yards rushing. And last year we were wondering, can we get the running game going?
That
Where
was the
is the
most.
running
I'm
game?
pretty. I'm
But
pretty
coming
sure I
into
know.
this year, we have 5 running backs that are very lethal, and they can run, they got the power, they can catch, they can block, and it's really good to see that from each of our running backs. But this 400-yard rushing, are we going to be able to hold this and be consistent with it throughout the season, or is this just kind of a one game thing because of last year FAU's defense was 51st or
I
54th in the nation. So I guess you can weigh it how you want it, but the running game is something that we had questions about, and if you're judging off of one game, we've seen a heck of a lot of improvement.
I think I think the moment I've said it in the groups, but I think this offense helps the offensive line and it fits what Dan wants to do. You
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, I would touch on that. The rushing did impress me. Malik Davis had a really good game. The offensive line did seem to
I'll
open
tell
up
you.
a lot of open lanes
Sorry,
for
Daryl,
him.
but
So go ahead, Lucas.
I'll tell you who I was really impressed with, even though he didn't play a lot, was Demarcus Bowman.
Yeah. Yeah, Bowman played pretty good, but a lot of good lanes that were opened up in the offensive line, and against a little bit lesser opponent. I like to see that in a bigger game and
Hmm.
see how well they do. But that's going to be the offense this year. You're going to see a lot of running and a lot of option reads off that quarterback. I think that's going to be more the style, the RPO game from our quarterbacks and the running backs we have.
I said it during the game, but I honestly think not that we're gonna win the national championship or anything, but this kind of reminds me of Leak and Tebow when Dan Mullen was
Okay,
here.
okay. That's a great where you're going with that, great, Lucas, because my next thing that I want to know about is, do we have a quarterback battle? Because this is a question that everybody seems to be talking about on Facebook, Twitter, all the social media, is how AR performed against versus how Emory Jones performed in the one game. Well, here's my take, and I'll jump right into it because I say we're not at the practices. We're not at the meetings. We don't know his IQ of the playbook. We don't know his how he's reading the defenses that he sees, and all of those kinds of things. Maybe AR is not there at that level yet. But Emory Jones, he's the guy. He's been waiting. He's got a shot. When Kyle Trask had a game where he threw like two picks. Here we are calling Emory Jones's name, and here after one game, we're talking about AR-15. Yeah, he
You
had
know
some
what they say?
explosive plays, and that's what we want to see. And I see where the comparison of the Leak Tebow thing is going, but I don't think we're comparing the two. I think we're more or less saying the concept is there of the two quarterback system.
You know what they say? The most popular player on the team is the backup quarterback.
Exactly. Because when they come in and play great, you want to see more of that. But it's the first game in the swamp. Go ahead, Darryl.
Yeah, I mean, first game in the swamp, and it's really the first official game that Emory Jones has started. So there probably was some jitters in the stadium. I was there. In the game at the moment, looking at it from the stadium, it seemed like he really struggled a little bit. But quarterbacks do that, and Trask has had his bad games as well. So, one thing that fans do, and I do it really bad, and you hit on it in your comment, is this one game, and then we're like, well, who's the guy behind him? And I do it myself sometimes, and we have to understand that it's a development process.
Mhm.
I
I
will say, just like before we started the podcast, I mentioned Dan Mullen is going to put the best quarterback that he feels is going to move the ball. So
Mhm.
nobody, and we are going to see both quarterbacks throughout the entire season because both quarterbacks are going to add an element to it. But Dan Mullen's going to put the best quarterback in play, whether that's Emory Jones in the future or AR. We'll have to see. But I do believe that Dan's going to make the right decisions, and whoever's moving the ball is going to play. Uh, a kid can have 4 stars, but there's a thing called the eye test. And when the lights come on Saturday,
I mean, look
I
at
don't care how good you are. If you're making big mistakes, you're going to have to sit down for a little bit,
Mhm.
and that's part of the development process. So, but full
Well,
full faith for whoever is the quarterback, whoever lines up, I'll support them.
I'm going to support them either way. That they're both great. Like you said, they both bring different dynamics to the game, and what they see. We're not there, but you know, how are we to say it? We're not there. It's the biggest way I
Hmm.
can put that is, let's not judge off of one game. I like the performance from AR-15, and
that
he
would be
will be the
like
future. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, the play where he hurdled the dude, that was a highlight play, and that's the cover of the photo of the group. I mean, it's great to see what our backup is, and he's capable of bringing stuff like that to the table.
that would be like me trying to figure out a puzzle, and then halfway through I'm like that would be like me trying to putting together a puzzle, and halfway through I'm like, I think I know what I think I know what I'm doing.
Exactly. I mean, Dan Mullen has said it himself. It's not about who starts. It's about when the game is on the line and you want to have your best players out there. If you start the game, that's fine. But if you, Darryl, like you said, if you make mistakes, you're gonna have to go sit down. So it's come crunch time in the fourth quarter, and the game's on the line. I don't want the starter in there if he's made mistakes. I want the best guys out there that can give us a chance to win the game.
And
You know.
you compared Leak and Tebow in years past. There's a reason why Mullen as the offensive coordinator used those two. They both had their strengths, and there was times where Leak was not at his best, and Tebow was the solution to the problem. So we're going to be seeing. We're going to be seeing both quarterbacks all year long, and it also makes other teams prepare for both quarterbacks. So that's another factor to it.
It is another element to it that you really got to think of. Okay, I got to not only do I got to prepare for Emory Jones, I got to prepare for Anthony Richardson,
And
and they both bring
I
different
don't mean
things, and they could probably bring some packages out there to where they're both out there on the field because they're Emory Jones. He's a slasher. He can make things happen. So I mean, if Emory Jones is a quarterback, and I'm just saying these plays can be there for Alabama.
I'm not. I don't mean to look too far ahead, but I honestly think Nico is going to be better than both of them. Just looking at his film,
Hmm. I mean,
but
I
we'll
like
see.
what both quarterbacks bring, and I think that they can be great, and they can be a starter on any team. So, but to get the reps between both of them, and to EJ is out of the game, Richardson's in the game. I'm not worried with either one of them back there.
Mhm.
Some coaches they stick with one quarterback, and the defense they get settled in with that one quarterback, and they kind of know settle in and get familiar with his tendencies. Now you're switching in quarterbacks, and they can do so much. I mean,
And
I love it.
it keeps them fresh too, especially if we're going to be running a running quarterback. It's just like your running backs. I mean, you're not going to, you might have a team that has one dominant running back, but even he has to come out and catch his breath. So it
Oh yeah.
does add that element that you got two great quarterbacks that can run the ball. Why not play him on different drives? Now he's got 20 minutes where he can sit and rest while the other guy's out there and they can rotate him out. So that keeps him fresh. So I'm not opposed to it. I like it.
No, we can talk about the interceptions, and the interceptions are something they're going to happen, but that puts something on film under the lights, and they can go this week and look. Okay, well, you didn't see that man right there. You just threw it right to him, and he had one that could have been a pick six, as you had alluded to before we went live. But these are the plays that we can't have against Alabama. That would have been a pick six to the house. So let's get these things on film and get it worked out this week to where next week let's see how Emory Jones plays, and I'll base more off of two games than I will one game, regardless of the opponent.
Like I said, if anybody can coach EJ and AR, it would be Dan Mullen just based on his track record.
Exactly. I mean, to me, Dan Mullen is a quarterback whisperer. I mean, he's developed
I don't
so
mean
many
to. He's the
quarterbacks.
best. He's the best developer of talent I've ever seen in my 15, 16 years of.
I agree. I mean, let's just see what he did with Felipe Franks. I mean, he got him looking pretty good.
And Felipe Franks actually really surprised me that year, man. I mean, to go to that bowl game and then go beat Michigan after what I had seen Felipe do previous years,
I
to me,
know.
that sold me on Dan for sure. Not that I wasn't anyway, but that right there was the nail in the coffin because, I mean, obviously the other guys couldn't do that with that quarterback. So, and
And then to bring a 3-star and Kyle Trask when Felipe
He
went
wasn't
oh
down
even a
yeah,
3-star. He
in
was like a
his
2-star.
rise to where he became. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's just it's amazing the quarterbacks that Dan Mullen has developed over the years of rather it be his dude that he recruited or somebody that he didn't recruit. But that's the thing. EJ is his recruit and his development. So I'm really curious to see how he progresses throughout the season. Both of them, really.
well, they better buckle up their bootstraps. They got one more practice game. Then it gets the real
Hmm.
deal.
Exactly. So I mean, if you're
I
gonna do
still
something,
think. I
um,
still stand by what I said. I still think we win the East this year.
that's ahead of us, and we'll get there. Let's not look too far ahead, but as of right now, we're
Right.
looking. The questions were answered last year that we needed answered, and,
Yeah.
and that's really what it comes down to.
And it was nice to see the swamp full again and the
I think
fans
it was like
back in the Gainesville
86,000.
again.
And by the way, I would like to add one more thing. I was listening to the game on the Alexa, and it sounded just as badass as I thought it was going to.
Yeah, you could definitely hear the crowd through listening to me. So it's a lot better, a lot better. Daryl, how was your experience? With the first game. Uh,
Look,
what was the vibe like
we
on campus?
oh, it was great. I mean, it was packed out. I was there. I get there pretty early. I would say about 7 o'clock. The spots around me were pretty full. You could tell that the first game. Everybody was excited. Last year we didn't really have all that, and the swamp didn't feel the same last year. So I was really excited. We tailgated, have met a lot of people. A lot of people come up. A lot of people walking around, and I did have to go into the game. I planned on not having to do that, but even us tailgaters have technical problems, and we got to practice too and get prepared. So
Exactly. We've had to do that with the
we,
podcast. So,
yeah,
tonight's podcast is a heck of a lot better than the pregame. So
yeah,
there's improvements there.
that's right. We all practicing and getting better.
Yeah, but
And by the way,
as always,
to,
it's great to get together with you guys and
to
talk
answer
about the
to answer
Gators
your
because that's what
question
we
about the
love to do.
video, I think David Sordicus can make you a video. I can
Yeah,
ask.
yeah, yeah. We'll have to get with him. But yeah, we'll be back on air for the post game or pre-game to South
And
Florida.
by the way, guys, I have a very special guest in mind for Alabama. Just saying. Hint,
So
hint.
tune into that. Tune into the guests that we may have for that game. But anyway, y'all, we will let y'all get going with y'all's night. And thank y'all for watching either now or later. Y'all tune in and make sure y'all just tune in. We got so many
That's it.
great things coming.
All right. Well, hey, if you ain't a Gator,
You must be
Gator
be
bait.
Gator bait. No Gators.